Welcome to NC Sports Weekly News. In this edition, Barcelona, Quantum and RAN push back Azzurra in the final and win big at the 52 Super Series. World champions Ian Williams and the GAC Pindar team show who's boss at the Alpari World Match Racing Tour season opener in Langerhans, Germany. AC34 update, the Artemis files and event continuity. The new safety guidelines released for training and racing on the AC72. Mark the calendar, rev up the engines for the P1 Superstok UK season kickoff in Hull. And the ASP Men's Tour moves to the Pacific Ocean for the Volcom Fiji Pro. Plunge into the action with NC Sports.
When conditions are like that, you can't control everything. You've just got to do the best job you can. Sometimes it goes your way and sometimes it doesn't. And I think maybe we got a little bit of luck in the semi-finals against Johnny. Could have gone the other way, but you know, we rode with it, and you take your opportunities when they come. And I think, you know, the final, we really dominated that pre-start and really earned it.
In a tedious single race final with little or no wind, Ian Williams and the GAC Pindar crew held strong and showed they're still boss at the season opener of the Alpari World Match Racing Tour in Germany. Four-time world champion in this exclusive circuit, including 2012, the Briton faced off with New Zealand's Adam Minoprio of Team Alpari FX, who in spite of a strong series performance here on Lake Constance, fumbled a couple of maneuvers off the starting blocks. While round-robin action did see better wind conditions in Langenargen, foul weather also came with a package for the last matchups, much to the dismay of many a crew member. Top-ranked helmsmen, the likes of Sweden's Bjorn Hansen or Poland's Karol Jablonski, met defeat in the quarters. Instead, Williams and his American-Australian crew dominated the series, accessing the final by defeating the other Swedes, led by Johnny Bernson of Stena Sailing. While Minoprio's all-Kiwi crew did away with Mathieu Richard and Francis Jeffco Match Racing. Conceding defeat but not surrender, Adam Minoprio, world champion in 2009, is still satisfied with the placement and the overall very promising start for 2013.
Team Alpari FX is pretty happy. Well, actually, we're really happy. It's second place in the first World Tour event of this year. It's disappointed, of course, to lose the finals to Ian, but we're extremely happy to start the season off for this year for second place. It's going to be some good points to build on for the rest of the tour.
With Germany on the logbook, the challenge for the world title for match racing is now officially on, and it's already a chase on Ian and the GAC Pindar team. Next up for the Alpari World Match Racing Tour is Korea. NC Sports will be there. Ed Beard and Terry Hutchinson on Quantum Racing came from behind on the final day of racing in Barcelona to win the Conde de Godó Trophy, third event of the season for the 52 Super Series. With top wind conditions at times reaching 20 knots and with plenty of tactical shifts, the Americans managed to build the pressure on Azzurra's Italians, who appear to be set for the win, and on the Swedes with RAN clearly still in the fight. Guillermo Parada on helm and Vasco Vascotto on tactics had put on their top performances for the first bouts, entering the single race final day with a solid 2-point lead on Quantum and a hefty 4 points ahead of Niklas Zenstrom's RAN. But in one of the most competitive circuits in the sport, just about anything could have happened, and it did. Following a less brilliant start in the final, Azzurra fouled the team Interlodge on a spinnaker hoist at the spreader mark, and thus had to pay penalty. The 360 ended up being much costlier than expected, soon turning the race into a hopeless pursuit. Closing in 7th place, the Italians dropped down to 3rd overall and ultimately, distanced by both Quantum and RAN, had to swallow the bitter pill. After 3 events, Azzurra still holds a lead in the Super Series season, thanks to its 2 victories in Key West and Miami. RAN and Quantum, however, now tied for 2nd place, are just 5 points away. 2013 is promising to be a heated battle. Next stop for the TP52s is Ibiza for the Royal Cup in July. All the action on NC Sports. The AC-72s are back on the water training in San Francisco Bay following the Artemis capsize and the death of Andrew Bart Simpson, which raised much speculation. The new list of safety recommendations, now released by the Independent Review Committee under Regatta Director Ian Murray, addresses a number of issues regarding yachts, the crews, on-water support operations, and some important racing mode changes. Walking a thin line between abidance of the AC-34 protocol and holding a united front with all teams, AC authorities are still coping with the worst crisis in the history of the event. Defending the AC-72 class boat design was not in question. Third-party testing of structural integrity, however, will likely be introduced for all platforms, the dagger boards and their hydraulic systems, as well as for the rudder elevators. Proposals also include improving the use of restraints for crew during dangerous maneuvers, more safe areas on the platform for latching up, and possibly even the introduction of cockpits. Gone are the America's Cup days with special guests or camera operators, no longer allowed on board. Also gone now are the famous docking ceremonies with huge crowds on call, and now considered too dangerous with the AC-72s. Better helmets, puncture-proof body armor, hands-free respirators, and a number of other personal carry-on devices for sailors are now recommended. Electronic head count systems and even underwater locators are part of the new safety plan. Improving radio communication is also on the list, so skippers on opposite teams will now be able to speak and further avoid contact. The overall safety grid of support vessels and operators will surely see a number of improvements, with more search and rescue boats on the water, specialized personnel, and the latest medical emergency equipment. Racing at the Louis Vuitton Cup in just a few weeks will undergo some changes as well. Only 5 of the original 7 round robins will be on schedule. Committee boats will no longer trace the start lines and will be replaced by soft marks. Maximum wind speed limit for racing will likely go down to 23 knots from the 33 originally set for the America's Cup final in September, and this may still become an issue. AC authorities this time are not taking any more chances and are looking for cohesion with all teams. With such little time left, many questions still abound, yet continuity has been assured. For a detailed look at the impact of these new America's Cup safety guidelines, don't miss this week's edition of NC Sports Top Story, The Hardest Lesson. Mark the calendar and keep an eye on NC Sports for full results. UK Powerboat P1 Superstock season is kicking off this weekend. The successful new series created in 2010 features the P1 Panther, mounting the award-winning Evinrude 250 high-performance engines, and some of the best pilots in the country. Fans are welcome this weekend in Hull, Yorkshire for the 2-day event that will set the pace for the National Championship. With 5 stopovers scheduled for 2013, winners from each national and continental circuit will gain access to the World Championship Finals planned for 2015. The ASP Men's World Championship Tour is setting waypoint in the middle of the Pacific Ocean for the Volcom Fiji Pro. Top surfers on the circuit are meeting up this week for a chance to put some extra points on the overall leaderboard and possibly take the win and the $450,000 US prize. De Sosa, Smith, Slater, Fanning need to shine in Taranua if they want to maintain leadership, and many are expecting a comeback for 2012 world champion Joel Parkinson following a lackluster season start. And for all solo sailing buffs out there, don't miss our leg-by-leg updates from La Solitaire du Figaro 2013. NC Sports. Plunge into the action.